Hello everyone. Alright, hello everyone, this is 24 Flying and a very welcome on board of our flight today. Today we are flying as a Ryanair flight, let's see, it's 6455 with service from Brussels airport to Hamburg, Germany. I've got the airplane set up and we are almost ready to get going. So let's jump into the cockpit. The phase where I left off is pre-briefings, so we're gonna do our briefings now. Let's quickly go through here. Alright, so departure today. We are going to be taking off on runway 7 right in Brussels, flying the Nicky to Juliet departure. Out to Nicky, then flying en route as filed all the way over to the Rib Sierra 1 Sierra arrival for RNF runway 33 in Hamburg. So I have the plates here and everything is set. No questions about that. Means that we can get going with our rest of the briefing. So we have plenty of fuel on board. For our route, we are actually carrying 8.477 tons of fuel. We should be landing with... we should be burning almost 3 tons for the trip, and then we have our reserves still in, and the route is in the flight plan, so... All our data is set. Let's check the QNH. Current QNH in Brussels is 907 hectopascals, so we can update this to 907. We have our flight directors are there, everything is selected. Then expected taxi, we are parked at one of the Ryanair stands in Brussels. We're going to be taxiing via via Inners all the way around to Zulu, hold short at Papa 9 of 7 right. It's a quite long taxi since they have these runway configurations currently. We have that. This is all checked. And let's give our passengers an announcement. And just quickly rearrange this sound a bit. Okay. And then we can close our doors and dismiss our ground crew. So we will go doors all closed, cargo compartment doors as well. And we'll go ground crew, hide all. Let's get these all away already. Alright, we can go ahead, start our APU. So I'll go APU on start. I think that was not enough. We'll see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. APU start. Should have the fuel pumps on as required. There it is, EGT of the APU rising. Alright. And then we need to let that run for a little while whilst this is going on. We'll go check that all this data is in. So performance wise, zero fuel is a 59.1, which is set. And this is already executed. So this is all fine. Our APU is running fine, so we can go APU bleed on. Our bleeds are there. APU bleed comes on, and the APU generators can come on as well. So we're off ground power now, so we can disconnect the GPU and we'll tell them to move the GPU away. Alright. For takeoff performance, I did get all the data in. However, I don't know how this works to get performance numbers out of here. So what actually is gonna happen is we're gonna enter that in here. So let me give a little bit of explanation to what's going on today. I'm flying the Zibo 737 800 next gen, and I just reinstalled it today. It's been quite some time since I last flown this thing, so I'm curious to see how it will go. Yeah, 737, very common aircraft, very good to have some knowledge on how this thing flies. So let's get this started up here. Outside air temperature is 1, so we'll go... We will go full TOCA. We will not do any assumed temperature method, so we'll go 1. That doesn't work. Okay, so we're just going to use actual temperature. Is it 0 outside? Let's see what the METAR says. METAR says 1. So I don't know why it went to 0. It might be the actual temperature compared to what the METAR has. Whatever, that's all fine. And we're gonna go takeoff 1, no derate. And no derate selected, so this will all be fine. And for takeoff page, we're gonna go flaps 5 for departure. CG is 21.3, which was correct. It's gonna give us 5.5 of trim. In here already. About there. And then our V speeds 138, 140 and 149 makes sense. This is the correct runway that we are actually using. And okay, that's all set. Then we can go 149 in our speed window up here, which is our V2 takeoff safety speed. And you want that bugged, so it's there. Stab trim, I just set it to 5.5. And we're not using a noise abatement procedure. We're just gonna be flying the departure as standard, so we'll leave it as this. Alright, this is all fine. Then we are not going to be using any air traffic control today, since the default air traffic control is really not the best. So anyway, we're going to go not do that. Standard instrument departure, and this is all as required. We're going to leave it at 2000, which is the standard IFR squawk. So our transponder is set to 2000, as you can see there. We are ready to push back, so we'll go anti-collision lights on. And packs will go off for engine start. And I just quickly need to get the checklist up there. So we'll go checklists, before start. Flight deck doors closed. CDU is set. Alright, thank you. N1 bugs are checked. Airspeed bug was V2. MCP is set. And briefings are complete. So, checklist complete. Alright, we are clear to push. So we'll go start our pushback. We're going to use our EFB as well. And our pushback, our request pushback. Alright. Our pushback guy is driving up nicely, and that means that we are also ready to get our engines started once they are up here. Alright, pushback guys here. So we are ready. So my frame rate is suffering a bit with this rain. We'll see how it goes once we get actually flying a bit further. However, I hope that it will be better there. So for everyone who doesn't know me, I'm 2-4 and I'm a student pilot, currently doing my ATPL training.
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed. We need to connect.
As the ground guy interrupts me, they're ready to connect. But I'm currently doing my ATPL training and in the middle of my instrument rating phase. So I'm using, usually I'm chair flying to practice, but since I've been stuck at home for a little while, I am actually doing a lot of simulator flying as well. And I thought, why not just share it with YouTube to see if anyone enjoys watching. And then I do hope that you do enjoy watching. If you do, please consider liking and subscribing. And maybe tell one of your friends to come watch with you. Might be nice to get a little chatting going on in the cruise phase. If you think I'm worth it, at least. Anyway, they should be raising our nose pretty soon to get us pushed back out of here.
Stove connected and bypass pin inserted. Rigid passing brake.
Alright. Parking brake released. We've got the parking brake released. Hello? Hello? I don't know where it went. The guy was just there. He asked us to release the parking brake. It's released. Let's see what they're doing. He's right there. I don't know why it's not working. Bizarre. Hello? See, better pushback. Should we stop? Try again? It's because the The frames are too low. I think it is because the frames are too low. Let's... Don't know why it's so low. Normally it's around 20, even in bad weather. It's that rain thing again, right? Let's try some configuring. Is it visual effects? General it's gonna be visual effects. Let's get... It's a little better. It's actually not that much better at all. It's the bad weather. Might as well have this back on. Why is it being so annoying? It doesn't look like it's giving me 13 frames. Huh, this is rather strange. You know what? Let's interrupt this pushback because he's not moving at all.
Disconnecting tower standby.
Okay, now he's working.
Run to cockpit, please show me where you want to go.
I want to go there. I just want to go there. Is that permitted? Let's try to set this parking brake again because... Look, he's raising us up. Okay, this is a good thing. We might be able to get going. I do need to push back because I can't go forward out of the stand. Our parking brake is released. What's going on, man? Alright. He's not doing it. Alright, we're gonna have to do some crazy stuff, I think. Let's first... Maybe we have to... just slightly disconnect him first. Better pushback. Off. Alright. Parking brake set. if you could... Can we turn them back on? Maybe I shouldn't have. It's loading now. It's back on. Alright. Let's try this again. Ground services, better pushback. Request pushback.
Run to cockpit, please show me where you want to go. Tow is driving up.
Alright, he's driving back. One last try. And if it doesn't work, we don't go. We go, of course, but we don't push. We just push ourselves manually. I think we can, kinda. And then start our engines there. Of course, it would be nice if they actually pushed us. What is killing my performance? Is it this weather? Or is there a plugin that's being annoying? It's mostly X-Plane, but the terrain radar a bit. It's really not much more. My Lua scripts, which is the landing plugin, and the better frame rate plugin, which is supposed to help me here, which it definitely is not. Can I go, if I turn this off, is it any worse? It's trying. There's our guy driving up. Our brake is set.
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed, ready to connect.
Alright, clear to connect. Let's hope that he's connecting now. He's actually doing something. Instead of just sitting there. These frames are horrible. I have to get this toned down a bit. What can we reduce? Reduce the... No, like this we can't. Is this going to help? No, it's not gonna work. Try to get this done very quickly. I hope this is gonna give us the few frames we need. I'm gonna turn it back when I get to my en route phase because I like my nice graphics. So that actually works now. I think it's because I did change some stuff about my streaming setup since I was at first I was trying to stream via a second computer. However, I wasn't sure that that was the way I wanted to go anymore. But anyway, I think I might go back to that for the next time since this is also not working that well. We have to trial and error is the way that you'll get somewhere, I think, using these streams. Well, I guess we'll see if it decides to load. Alright, so I think this worked a little. We have a little bit better graphics and the pushback guy is actually there. So let's try this again. Parking brake released. Please push me back.
Pushback. Can you start engines?
Great. There. Finally he's there. Let's start our engines now. Okay, engine start. So we'll go starting number 2, then starting number 1. Number 2 to ground. Watching for 25% N1, and then we'll go introduce fuel. There's 10, up to 15 almost. There's 15, 10% to go. And 25, introduce fuel on the right side. We have a light off. Watching that we don't overtemp or overpressure everything here. We have N1 spooling up. EGT is rising nice and slowly. And then we're waiting for about 20% N1. Starter disconnected. And I would say the engine is stable. Starting number 1. So we'll go engine number 1, ground. Just means ground start. So now N2 is being spooled up by bleed air from the APU. 15%. When it gets up to 25, there is a sufficient amount of airflow through the engine to introduce fuel, which then will be lit off by the igniters inside the combustion chamber. And then the exhaust gases will power up both. I was a little late there, but we have to watch our EGT then. And this will spool up the both high pressure and low pressure turbines at the back of the engine. And those turbines, they are directly connected by a shaft to the fan in front and the compressor blades. So we have N1, which is our low pressure stage, rotation, and starter disconnected. Right, then after start, we'll go Gen 1, Gen 2 on. APU can go off. Oh, that's the wrong light. APU off. And we'll go engine start switches to continuous, which means that the igniters will light off continuously compared to, not when you don't have it on there, not continuously. We'll go probe heats on. And packs to auto. Isolation valve to auto. And APU bleed can come off. Engine bleeds are on. Nice and rainy today. Perfect weather to simulate Belgium. Alright, we lost a lot of frames here. However, I hope when the pushback guy goes, we can get better frame rate here, because I really don't like how this is looking. And I have to apologize to you guys, because this is gonna be horrible to watch for you guys as well. So let's hope that whilst I'm in flight, it's gonna be a bit better. Alright. Parking brake set.
Disconnecting tow, standby.
Roger. Okay, so right now we have to wait for the tow guy to disconnect and drive away. He's gonna be going over there, and then he will show us that he has the bypass pin. And this bypass pin, the tow guy, he inserts it into the nose wheel, into the location on the nose gear, which disconnects our nose wheel steering, which means that the tow truck can actually freely move the airplane around. If he doesn't leave that, if he leaves that in there, I think we don't have any steering and we can't raise the gear. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that is the case in the 737. which means that we have to absolutely verify that our pushback guy has removed our bypass pin. Whilst we wait, we can disconnect and go to hand signals only. And once we see that the pin is there, we can actually be sure that we can also start moving everything. And we don't want to move any flight controls when there's people around. You never know, because you can't see any of them. We might be able to take a look out of the window and see if we can what we can see. So on this side we can see just the wingtip, and it's going to be the same on the other side. So definitely you can't see your flaps, you can't see your engines. Yeah, you don't want to move anything and accidentally hit someone. That's what the point is.
Tow is disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal on the right. We'll see you next time on other side flight.
Thank you very much. We'll be looking for you on the right side. Alright, they have disconnected. We should see the truck driver just there in just a second. Or let's hope that they do. You can hear him drive off. I don't know, how's the sound for you guys? Is it any good? What was that? Our tow truck driver. Is he almost out? Oh, he's disappeared. How bizarre, I didn't see him. Anyway, the X checklist tells me that it's been shown, so we can select flaps 5 for takeoff. That's 1, that is 2, and that will be 5. Selected flight controls, we will go full forward, full aft, neutral, full left, full right, neutral, rudder left, rudder right, and neutral. Don't actually know if we can see any of these here. Oh yeah, we could have seen all of them here. Checked, checked, rudder. Just checked, so they all make sense. I'll go back to engine page there, or we can leave it blank even. Alright, and then we will press a recall. My side, nothing, and nothing on the first officer side. Lower display is off now. Or we want to go, yeah. And then before taxi checklist, we'll go checklists. Before taxi, gens are on, probes heat on, wing anti-ice. It's gonna be required today. Of course, it is going to be required. So we'll go all of our anti-icing as required. Packs auto, isolation valve auto, APU bleed off, engine start switch is continuous, start levers idle. Ground equipment is clear, flaps are 5, flight controls checked, lower view is blank. Before taxi checklist is completed. Alright, and we will taxi now. So we are clear to taxi via inner, via the inners all the way up to inner 10, then via Zulu to Papa 9er, hold short 7 right. Alright, and then we will go select our taxi light on, and our runway turn-offs can come on for taxi. Release the parking brake. Clear on the left, clear on the right. And then we'll go takeoff config tests. The right engine there. And no horn is sounded. To our brakes check. Brakes checked. And then my co-pilot would do the same, but he already checked it, so that's fine. And then we can get off this page. Start taxiing about to runway 7 right. We're doing horribly on frames. This rain. Let's get a wiper on. It's going a bit better now. Alright, look at my nose wheel tiller. This yaw axis on this side stick is really not that nice. Some issues. It's a shame that we have to go all the way around. Couldn't just take off on 7 left. My flight plan requires me to go to 7 right because that's the one that they're using today. I think in real life Ryanair could request 7 left. Don't know if they would get it. They most likely would. So I don't know how realistic this is. I'm not an expert on Brussels airport operations, obviously. I would like to think that they get an exception like this, that they get 7 left since they're parked all the way out as far as they are. And especially because it's Ryanair, they don't want to burn as much fuel on the ground. They want to be flying. So we're now on the inners. That makes sense. Any airline should be focused on saving fuel as much as possible. "13 FPS, this is really unplayable. I'm really not used to it being this bad." Also, this is a Bayware airport, so it's pretty detailed. That doesn't help. For sure. But I do like the way that it looks, so I wouldn't want to replace it, to be honest. I was wondering if it works better if you have less outside view in your picture. However, I'm not that sure. They're nice Boeing 737-800 NG, taxiing out to a runway 7 right. We are currently on the inners, and we'll soon make a turn on the inner 7. And this was inner 4. So 5, 6, and then 7 is already paralleling the cross runway. That will be all the way up to 10. And then taxiway Zulu, holding short of 7 right at Papa Niner. And I'm curious to see how this thing will fly once I actually get it airborne, since it has been quite some time since I've last flown this thing. They had some issues, so I had to reinstall it even today, and even now I can't seem to get my nav data all the way up to date. It's not that old anymore, but it's not up to date either. Technically we could go that way, but I'm gonna stay clear of the apron. It's inner 6. The iconic Brussels Airport control tower. If you're familiar with the airport or have seen any pictures from here, that's one of the favorite shots these spotters like to get, is on the 25 left arrival airplanes coming in and making a picture. Oh, didn't want to get reversers there. I don't know why I did. I think I do. I think I pulled back on my throttles a bit too hard. In here. And get going again. I think we were going a little fast at the end there. However, I'm not that patient to keep going at a reasonable pace. We're in a simulator, and I don't want to waste your time. If you're watching this after the fact, please do just skip forward. I don't mind. I really don't mind. Just skip forward. Because taxiing is not really that interesting, especially when there is no other traffic around. Because I didn't figure out any good traffic plugins or stuff for X-Plane. Because when I get something, I don't want it to hurt my frame rate as much. As you can see, it's already horrible today. Yeah. Don't want it to get any worse than it already is. Try to get ourselves moving. We're on outer, inner 8 now. Inner 9 next. There's inner 8. I really like how they do this inner outer system here in Brussels. It's logical. As you can see, the inner and the outer parallel to the runway. However, it makes getting taxi instructions interesting, I think. I've never flown here myself in real life, so I wouldn't know how they would clear you to taxi. I don't know if they say all the inner numbers, or they just via the inners or something. A little curious, actually. Try to get some someone to tell me. If you know, please do leave a comment. And thanks in advance for letting me know how this works. Alright, that was the end of inner 8. Getting a little fast again, but yeah, actually making some progress now. So it's constantly leaning me to the left. It's because I'm using my Thrustmaster TCA side stick as slide controls today. Because of all, I do own a SideTech yoke. However, I think I have to fix it a bit because it's not really that smooth anymore and definitely doesn't feel at all realistic. I'd much prefer to have a honeycomb alpha yoke and Bravo throttle quadrants, but I'm also really happy with my my Thrustmaster setup that I have now. So I have the side stick and the throttle quadrant that I'm using, both from the Airbus edition, and I use it mostly to fly my Airbus aircraft as well, because I do own the Tolis A321. If you didn't know that yet, then you should probably watch some more of my videos, which I streamed last couple of weeks. I've been streaming mostly in the Tolis Airbus A321. Okay, we're coming up on Zulu now pretty soon. It's inner 9, so now just inner 10, which is the next one. And then make the right onto Zulu. So I did fly mostly on that one, on the Airbus, and I've made myself a bit more familiar with the Airbus systems as well. However, my MCC course that's part of my ATPL training will be on the 737, so I'm also gonna try to get this stuff as realistic as possible in here and apply the procedures that I'm gonna use later. But most of that is gonna be for our next video, because today I'm just familiarizing myself with the aircraft. Alright, we're almost there. Now we're gonna make the right onto Zulu. I think I will have to continue all the way up to there, and there's Zulu. Yeah, because this is part of the ramp, so we'll continue straight, then make the right up to Zulu ahead of us. And then we will be paralleling runway 7 right, about to depart. And once we're on Zulu, let's get our before takeoff stuff done that we can get going. Alright. On Zulu, let's get our before takeoff done. Okay, we want to get our lighting, our cabin lighting to take off. Get our cabin crew seated. And then cabin attendant to make them aware. See if you have an announcement to make as well. Nope, nothing for us to say. Oh. Let's correct this here. Okay, forgot to set my auto throttle and these. Now this looks more like what I'm gonna have to use in a second. Normally you do it before you get off, before you start heading out to the runway, before you taxi, but this checklist procedure has it a little differently, so I'm not sure what to do actually. Coming up on the runway pretty shortly, so once we can see the whole short bar, we we'll assume that we are cleared for takeoff on runway 7 right, because there's no one else, so why wouldn't we be? And the hop over to Hamburg is going to be pretty short. I don't know if this is currently Ryanair doesn't fly the route. I don't know if they ever did. However, it's perfect for their short haul route network, so we're gonna fly it. Okay, we can see it now. We are clear for takeoff, so cleared for takeoff. We'll go this one over to strobe and steady. Get our landing lights on. Get our wing light on. Weather radar on.
Okay, the cabin is secured. Have a good flight.
Alright. And up. Get this transponder of ours. Go TARA. About to line up before takeoff. So its config is checked, flaps, green light. Takeoff briefing. Normal takeoff, runway 7 right, following the departure as standard. Cabin is secure, MCP set. Transponder TARA, strobe lights are on, landing lights are on. Before takeoff checklist is completed. Alright, let's select about 40%. Up there. Chrono on. Okay. Trust stable. Toga. N1 Toga. Trust that. Airspeed is alive.
knots.
Check. Rotate.
Rotate. Positive brake.
Gear up. Get our wiper parked. LNAV.
400.
Checked. We'll fly manually. Alright, why is it not getting our speed here? Should be N1 now. I don't know why it's keeping armed. Normally it should, there it is, N1. Alright. Flaps 1. Following the flight directors on our departure. And we can go flaps up. Speed check, flaps up. Oh, we're descending now, which is absolutely not what we want. We will go autopilot left command. Why is that not working? Left command? Yeah, we're left command now. Okay. Very strange how it did that. Fuel. Okay, we'll go center tanks off. Alright, after takeoff. Landing gear off, auto brakes off, engine start switches to auto. And we'll check our cabin pressure. Cabin climb, differential within limits. And selector is auto. And then we would contact ATC. Coming up on the transition level, we'll go standard.
Thousand to go.
Alright, let's climb flight level 360. And we are once we get our wings level here, we can release our cabin crew to do their service. Our frames are still horrible. I don't know what is going on here. Okay, after takeoff on the yoke. Engine air conditioning set. Start switches auto, landing gear up and off, auto brake off, flaps up, no light, and altimeters are standard. Looks like we are pretty stable. Release them. Alright, climbing up nicely. So, once again, everyone, welcome aboard. This is a Ryanair flight 6455 en route to Hamburg. As we just departed in Brussels airport. And we are still getting horrible frame rates. I would like to know why that is happening today. So, that we can fix it for the next time. This is really not flyable. It doesn't look like it's giving me 10 FPS. This doesn't look like 10 FPS. Absolutely. I don't know what's going on with the sim. It's doing a bit different. We're approaching 10,000 feet. So at 10,000 we will go landing lights off and perform the checklist here. There's 10,000 landing lights off. These nose lights should have been off already. APU is off. This is all set. Let's go see if our cabin altitude is actually safe. Cabin altitude is safe. Differential pressure is increasing and within limits. It's perfect. And let's get these unrequired lights off as well. It's all checked. And we'll go fasten seatbelt sign to auto. No, let's give our flight attendants a little bit more time to start preparing for their service. Alright, and set this up to the actual course. When I was setting this up, I couldn't find out because yeah, normally when you have a departure tracking inbound to a station, you want to have a course set, but we were actually tracking direct to Nikki EBBR, which is what we're doing right now. And from where you start tracking, it's not that you're tracking a radial inbound because it depends on when you reach 1700 feet off the runway. So you first have to climb up to 1700. Alright, they're announcing their service. I really do like this airplane. This is definitely payware quality. With all this stuff that goes on. Even I have this A330, RW design A330. Absolutely never get it. If I can recommend you one thing, is to never get the RW design A330. It was a waste of money. It is absolutely horrible. It's barely flyable. Definitely not accurate in any way. And yeah, it looks ugly. It flies ugly. The fly-by-wire doesn't work that properly. Half of the systems aren't modeled. It's really a waste of money. I'm really... if it was anything like the Solus A321, it would have been perfect, but no. I don't think there's a decent A330 out for X-Plane, which is unfortunate. The Flight Vector 767, I do really recommend, though. We're nicely climbing, and let's release our passengers to auto. Alright, that is cruise procedure. Yeah, you might want to get this heading bug actually aligned with where we're going now. It's a lot easier to do this in a real airplane because you're actually sitting there. You can touch this knob without moving your head, without changing your view. You just look outside in front of you, monitor your instruments, and just quickly turn the heading knob whilst it's turning. However, in the sim, you're looking at other stuff. It's much more complicated, unfortunately. Alright, so Nikki is the end of the departure, and then we will be going to our en route waypoints. And I'll do a quick fuel check once we pass Nikki. So let's see, at Nikki we should have... Does my EFB say... Nikki 7.9 on board, and we currently have... a little less. Or it's fine. We'll just monitor. If we ever get below our minimum fuel, that's when we get concerned. The autopilot is acting a little bit strangely. Is it gonna really remind me to do this heading bug thing every time? It's rather annoying. I'd much rather just have it not remind me and just stay out. I didn't try this yet with the X checklist. I do like X checklist. It gives me something to look at on screen. I don't have to get my papers out. Of course, in a real aircraft, that all the airplanes that I've flown, all these airborne checks have been from memory. However, in a big airplane like this, you usually have some memory aid, because it's very important that you get every one of these checks. Also in a small airplane, but it's different. Okay, this registration that's showing on your overlay is wrong, so I'll remove it really quickly. We're actually flying Echo India Golf Juliet Kilo, and not the standard SimBrief one. So it's a bit bouncy. As I was saying, the autopilot is a bit bouncy. You see, it reduces its climb rate. It's not really smooth at climbing. I don't know why this is. We're in the correct modes. Everything looks like it should be fine. However, it likes to... Now it's leveled off until it's reached its speed again. And then it starts climbing again. It must be awfully uncomfortable for the passengers. Get this system here on the legs page. That's what we want. Alright. Then we can peek over here to see what leg we are on. There it is. It's leveling off again to accelerate. It's absolutely not realistic. Alright, there's a Viget coming up. Let's see what fuel we need at Viget. Looks like we should have 7.8 on board. So that is 3.8 in each tank. And we are 0.6 under in total. It's the same as we were before, so it's not a downward trend. And we haven't leveled off yet, so once we get to our cruising altitude, we can really start to see if our efficiency is as we expect it to be. Alright, we just passed that waypoint, almost. Setting our heading bug up here. Probably gonna be something like this. Are we in this slow of a turn because the frame rate is this bad? Is it doing this because the frame rate is bad? It might. I wonder. might be because I'm also streaming through there, that it just doesn't want to work properly. But yeah, looks like the streaming is using a lot of CPU power. Alright, I'm gonna have to try something out. And I'll probably be gone for just a second. But see you in a minute. Alright, I think I might have fixed it. So I'm back here. And I changed the frame rate setting from 60 to 30. I don't know why I ever thought I could have 60 up there. However, now my connection is better. And actually the frame rate here in X-Plane is better as well. It's feeling a lot more smooth now. We should be getting a bit more as we continue. It's using about half as much CPU power now. Well, maybe not half, but definitely getting better. Okay, I'm relieved that I could fix it like this. However, that also means that the streaming is the culprit. So the reason of the bad frames is because I'm also running a CPU intensive program on the side. And it might be better to try and get this done on the second computer again. So I thought this would be a good idea, however this is really not that good of an idea. Although I do prefer the simplicity of this setup. I'm currently monitoring the stream on my second computer and I am using the audio interface that I use for my microphone properly now. Because I was using a botched job before and this works a lot better. And I would like to think that I could make this work. So we'll see how this stream goes for the rest. And if it goes well, I might be able to just pull it off. Okay, we're en route now, so let's get these off. I don't need to see that anymore on my display. Get some range in. Why is it doing that? There it is. Now we have a better picture of our flight plan. However, it's still doing this level thing, so I don't know how much that has to do with the frame rate issues, because it's better now, although it's still only 13. I can't believe it's only 13. I turn this off, how much do I get? 12. I gain 1 by having this on. Yeah, whatever. Doesn't matter. We'll just get this flight going up. Alright, auto throttle issues. Climbing up nicely. Yeah, this looks good. Alright, I'll see you when I have something more to do. Alright, looks like the stream is having a little bit of an issue. I don't know why it is not connecting. On my end, Streamlabs doesn't show any issues here. However, it's not getting any data anymore, apparently. So it's saying excellent connection. That must have been just an issue with the computer. Alright, it looks fine. Alright. See what's going on here. How to turn Sierra Papa Yankee nicely into the headwind shortly. Sierra Papa Yankee is Spijkerboer VOR DME. So that means that we are right overhead Schiphol now. If we were to look down straight outside, we would see Schiphol Amsterdam Airport. And it's getting a little bumpy apparently, as you can see. So let's get our passengers in their seats. But our cabin crew can definitely still handle this, so we'll just leave them about because we want them to sell stuff. Yeah, ancillary revenue, that's called. I'll give you a bit of an airline economics lesson. So some airlines that operate low-cost routes, like Ryanair, for example, they don't only get their money from airfares, which makes sense. They also get their money from people paying for baggage, for drinks on board, food on board, priority boarding, all that nice stuff, added on top of the ticket price. And for airlines like Ryanair, that's a major revenue source. And in the industry, it's called ancillary revenue. Might be nice, a nice thing to know. If you want to know more, please do let me know. I can refer you to some documentation, maybe. I don't know. I did study about that. So I know some stuff, but I'm not an expert. Let's leave it at that. So we just turned over there and we will select our heading. I hope it's not going to be all weird when we do this in the descent like it's doing in the climb now. I'm gonna have to look that up once I'm done. Because I do want to know if there's any way to fix this for the next time. I think what's going on now with this stuff is it's more general bumpiness that's causing these fluctuations in climb rate compared to what we had before, where it was really pitching up too high, letting the speed bleed, and having to level off, and then pitching up too high again, letting the speed bleed again. You should be able to find one pitch attitude to maintain the speed. which is what you would do if you're actually flying the airplane as well. It was being a bad pilot, the autopilot.
Thousand to go.
Standard set. And when I say standard set, I'm referring to the altimeter setting, which is standard barrow now. Because we're above the transition altitude. It's a thing that I learned from my flight instructor to always announce that it's more critical once you get lower down to the ground in your approach phase, and you might forget to set the correct altimeter setting when you are about to level off somewhere. And whilst you're climbing or descending, it doesn't matter because you're moving through the altitudes anyway. But when you want to level off at an altitude, you really want to be sure you're on the correct pressure setting, because if not, you will level off at the wrong altitude. You'll bust your level most likely. Alright, we are gonna select cruise, lighting. All, and get our level of message done.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again for the flight deck, we've leveled off now at a cruising altitude. Want to go ahead and turn off the staff and seatbelt sign. Like the check, we ask if you are saving the seatbelt steps, please fasten for your safety. Onboard computer shown as on-time arrival. No ATC delays either. Let's stay quiet up here, having enjoyed the flight and the service. Once again, welcome aboard.
And so he was talking about, or I, in parentheses, was talking about how I was going to turn off the fasten seatbelt sign, but as you can see, we're still making, the autopilot is still making rather large control inputs. We're definitely still in turbulence, and, or yeah, not severe turbulence, it's light chop, light to moderate maybe, but mostly light, and should be able to get the fasten seatbelt sign off. It should be fine. What did they want? We can get these.
Go ahead and start service.
Sure. Alright, and... oh, that's not what we want. Accidentally pressed the wrong button. Are we too fast for gear retraction? Did I break my landing gear? Definitely did break my landing gear. Fix all failures. Gonna work. Damn. What happens when you press the wrong button in flight? That's not good. It's our landing gear limit. Alright. Oh, don't want that either. Get gear down. Gear down. Gears down. And we will slow down the airplane. So vertical nav off. Want to slow down the airplane until we get speed below 235 and we can raise the gear again. As long as we stay on LNAV, we should be nicely following the route. I hope I didn't break anything by retracting it again. So I made the classic mistake of raising the gear when accidentally lowering it. Okay, we are below speed, so we can go gear up. This is interesting. Okay. Gear up. No lights will go gear off. And VNAV. Let our airplane accelerate again. Who's blinking? I'm hearing the dings all the time. They're clear to get out of their seats. I hope they're not all complaining all the time. Right, we're back at cruise power now, accelerating to our cruise speed. Alright, so I made a pretty big mistake there, because I still have a button mapped to gear down where it shouldn't be. Let's quickly just get that done. This should be nothing. Do nothing. Alright. Okay, better now. And we're slowly re-accelerating. It's because we're at a cruise power setting, it's not gonna be that quick of an acceleration. But that's fine. Maybe it's just because this Zibo mod is very, very heavy on the simulator that it's giving me such low frame rates. I don't know. I haven't tested this sufficiently. Oh. That was an accident. I want the inner knob to select 07, not actually 078. We want to select our heading, which is 071. Is our top of descent already? Oh yeah. We're approaching our top of descent, so we better get on with our descent prep. Right, let's get my weather info. We have a METAR saying 3604 knots, 10 kilometers or more, few clouds at 1900, -1, temperature 2.04, QNH 1004. Is our weather in Hamburg. That's fine, let's get our FMC programmed. Descent, it's 24 miles to the top of the descent. We don't need any changes here. All fine. Let's descend forecast. Transition level 50. Guess. Because yeah, okay. Transition level 50 could be right because it's calculated by air traffic control, and we don't use any air traffic control. We will never know for sure, but we'll just leave it at that. Then QNH was 1004, so let's enter one. Wait a second. Temperature was -1, so we'll go -1/1004. Enter that here. And then execute. It's in there. ISA deviation is in there. Ah, no, it's ISA deviation. I'm mistaken. So it's -14 or 16. -16. No, you want -16. -16. 1004. Execute. Fine. Then we'll get a fix on the runway, so it's TT8 hotel. Runway in use for us is 33, so that's Romeo Whiskey 33. It's not in the database. Okay, that's fine. That's our MCP altitude. We want to reset that now. Let's make that the initial approach at 3000. So we'll set 3000. Selected. We're still on VNAV, so that's fine. Decision height, we are doing LNAV VNAV Cat D, so that is 391 in baro, so we are set for barometric. Okay, we're descending now. Everything is going really, really quickly. So we're in the descent, get everyone in their seats. Make a quick announcement. $391. There it is, 391 set. Nav frequencies. This is all our nav, including the arrival. So we don't need any. They're set. Courses are as required. Altitude bug is selected and done. Get our performance. It's all fine. It's gonna okay. Drag required. Let's give it a bit of drag. Flight detent. Our speed breaks out. Then we will go required. Then ProTref. Flap 40, flap speed 40, glide slope is on. Speed brake is all the way out. We will go auto brakes 1. We're gonna use a lot of reverse to be the Ryanair. And descent checklist on the Yuk. Pressurization, land altitude of 50 is set. Anti-ice, not required. Approach briefing, so we're doing the RNP runway 33 approach in Hamburg. All set. We are doing LNAV, VNAV. So our MSA 2100 minimas for our LNAV VNAV is 391 baro is set. Wait a second. RVR required is 900 meters. We have 10k or more, so that's fine. No approach band. Missed approach. Climb on track 330, and then turn right. Direct Hotel Alpha Mike, climbing 4000. So or as filed, or as directed. So briefing complete. Speed and altitude bugs are as required, so set. Okay, we can get rid of this drag. We're definitely slowing down a bit too much. And let's get this over to the next one. Get our lights on to landing. And we did do the descent message. Okay, we'll go back to 25. And the rest of the procedure is still to go. Got throttles idle, nice quick descent. And this is all part of the arrival procedure. So Ripso is the first waypoint in the arrival. We want to be below 110, which is there. Then Delta Hotel 804. We want to be at 220 knots. And then we will continue all the way down. And we want to be 4000 or above by the time we get to Delta Hotel 854. And 854 is the waypoint just before we get to the approach, and then the rest of the approach we want to be at 3000 at Delta Hotel 857. And from there 3000 till Solsax, then we will descend following the glide slope until we are visual with the runway, where we will continue for landing. Okay, I think I've got a hang of this. Looks like we're gonna be just fine today. Our speed is better now, and our descent profile we're right on, so great. Just over 50 minutes of flight time we did until now. Looks like it's gonna be somewhat of a sunset arrival here in Hamburg. Yeah, pretty nice sunset. And compared to the weather in Brussels, Hamburg is looking quite nice. Just a little bit of clouds, but pretty cold. So compared to Brussels, where it's 1 degree, it's -1 in Hamburg, so it's below freezing. If it were raining, it would be bad. We would have some ice on the runway if they didn't clear it properly. Which is another justifiable reason to get full reverse once we land, being Ryanair. Oh, it's a big wind shear. Did you see that? That's a weather update in X-Plane. Really dangerous. We almost stalled there. I have the controls ready to go to correct for a stall there. It's crazy. I heard that with plugins like Active Sky, you get less of a jolt when it updates. It updates more gradually and more often. Which might be, I hope it's, if I ever have the chance to get something like that, would be nice. However, I don't think this system can run these plugins smoothly if we even have issues whilst streaming and flying at the same time. Most important thing is that we have better frames now as we are approaching for landing. For landing, I do want to have a lot of frames because we want the precision. I don't want to land very hard. I want to land smoothly, and it would be very difficult if we just had the bad frame rates like that we had before on the takeoff roll. It's pretty hard to get it controlled nicely when you don't see half of what's going on. Alright, next waypoint is the 1000 or below. Curious if we'll get there. I think so, because we're 7,000 now, 165. So flight level 110 or below. Oh, the visibility just dropped there quite suddenly. I thought, oh, what a nice view, and then suddenly it's all gone. Why is that? Let's check the weather if it's getting worse. No, not really. Wind's variable at 10k or more. Still clouds, few clouds at 1,900, and -2 now, so it's a little colder. Luckily we are flying IFR because you don't really see any visual references now. Okay. Let's reset this heading bug. We're gonna most likely need some drag once we get to this decel point. Although we keep an eye on it. If it stays on the profile, then we don't need any more drag. There are so many waypoints on this arrival, which we are almost on now. Okay, it's working as required. We're already slowing down a bit. Oh, there we are. Nice view ahead of us. There's a small airport, which might be. Oh, we'll see. Throttles are idle now. We're decelerating. Oh no, there's Hamburg. That is where we're going. So it's gonna accelerate now, and we have to decelerate in just a couple of miles. And there's really nothing I can do to stop it doing so. There it was, it accelerated, it decelerated now. Well, some fuel we just wasted. Unfortunately, there is no real way to override this and then have it work after again. Because you don't want to switch it off whilst we're on automatics. Alright, 10,000 feet. Let's get these landing lights on. Runway turn-offs on. Local lights. We want it on because it's getting dark. We don't want it off like before. And that's it. We are not at the transition level yet. It's still 5,000 feet before we get there. Start 10,000 foot checks. Done. See if it wants to drag. No, we're definitely below our profile. So right now the profile will come back in whilst we reduced our rate of descent in order to decelerate. And we will intercept that profile again, most likely when we are at our speed. If the calculations are correct. Who is that? Do we have the floodlights on? Yeah, they're as required. Okay. Alright, we're not quite at 220. We're getting close. We have a little bit of time left before we have to be at 220 if we have to follow the star. Ah. That might have been the ding. Normally you get like it. I'm used to flying a 7.6 where you get a message saying FMS message. Here you have to look and listen out. Alright, it was my own fault for not intercepting this quick enough. Alright, we're close enough to the speed now. Get these speed brakes out again. Alright, let's just select our QNH now because we're almost gonna be there pretty soon and I don't want to be doing it when I'm doing other stuff. So let's go. We can already have that pre-selected there. 1004. Let's pre-selected, and we just have to press the button, and then we'll be done. Standby, we can already select. It's gonna be the same as the thing there. And we're not flying an ILS, so that will be like that. Approach checklist. ATIS and instruments are checked. Altitudes and instruments correction. And approach navigates are as required. We're doing the RNAV approach. LNAV VNAV minima. So, alright, set. And then we just need to get our PA message here.
Flight attendant, first to landing, please.
Alright, so the flight attendant just gave her final announcement to that she will be going through the cabin and get all the passengers' garbage, and we are ready to get landing this airplane. So the airport is right there. We're in the standard instrument arrival procedure, and all these waypoints are where we're gonna fly. We're gonna go all the way up there and then make a U-turn to come in on the approach. Actually, we should select 4,000 here, since that is our limit on the star. So we're gonna go with select 4,000 there. We will be descending after we get to Delta Hotel 857. We'll select 3,000 for the platform altitude. And then once we get to Solsax, we will intercept our... Yeah, it's not really a glide slope antenna beam, but we will be intercepting our GPS-provided glide slope down to the runway. And we're not LPV today because I think the 737 is not qualified to do LPV approaches. It will be LNAV, VNAV, as far as I'm aware. Oh, there's 5,000, so we'll want to set. It's finally decided to do something about being below the track that it calculated, so I guess it's fine. You can go up to flaps 5 at 250 knots, so it's fine. We don't want to do that yet. We will continue the star and then we'll start configuring later. Alright, we're flying over the port of Hamburg. Pretty busy port. And the interesting fact about the airport of Hamburg, Airbus has a big factory there. And the Beluga, I think, flies here often to carry parts. It's pretty cool. I've been to Hamburg once. I saw the Airbus factory from far away. I did a tour in a boat. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Hamburg's a nice city. This approach feels very, very long, this arrival procedure, because we're so slow. If we could stay at 250 knots, it would go a little quicker, and it would feel a lot quicker. However, we're just at 220 knots, stuck here, flying the arrival, which takes us out so far. Right, let's see if we need to do any more checks here. Not yet, no. Alright, and you see that our altitude deviation from the profile is reducing now, so we're gonna intercept that pretty soon. Alright, it's getting a little darker now. I hope we still are able to see something on our landing. We're about to turn in for, there it is, our final turn. Everything is going so slow. An hour and 13 in. Alright, I hope everyone really enjoyed our flight up to this point. If you did, please consider liking and subscribing and sharing with one of your friends. Also go ahead and follow me on Instagram, where I post some pictures and announcements of the live streams that I'm going to be doing. Instagram handle is in the description below. It is 2for-flying, just like that, with a capital F. You'll find me. It's just the same as the YouTube channel. So do give me a follow there. Alright.
1,000 to go.
1004 is set. Starting to descend now. Alright, and let's get flaps 1 in. So speed check flaps 1. And get cabin crew in their seats.
Thousand to go.
It did it again. It's not really true. I think it's because we descended a little bit. So it's gonna make this a continuous descent, I think. Which is fine. Just has to be above 4,000 at Delta Hotel 857, and then descend to 3,000 to go to platform. And then at Sussex we want to be, which is that one, want to be all at 3,000 to intercept the glide slope.
1,000 to go.
Yeah, I know, first officer.
Thousand to go.
We're not descending. We're still almost 2,000 feet below our profile, so it's not, that's why it's not descending currently. It doesn't have to keep reminding me that it's 1,000 feet to go. I know, it's actually 300. What am I saying? It's actually 760 feet to go.
Thousand to go.
It's a little bit annoying now. Can't silence this first officer.
Thousand to go.
Are you kidding me? There's 1,000 feet of deviation. I guess we'll start to descend pretty soon now. And it's gonna tell me again in a second. There's the airport in sight.
1,000 to go.
Second to last time it's gonna say it, I think. It's gonna say it again when we start our descent. Maybe. Maybe it was the last time to say it. Okay, we can descend to 3,000 now. We're in the approach now, and that means our speed is checked. We'll go flaps 5. And we are starting our descent. Or not yet. Not yet. Still just under 300 feet below our profile. Doesn't let me descend just yet. It's really gonna make me be 3000 at Solsax apparently. That's what I'm hoping for at least. Still have 1700 feet to descend before Solsax. There's our descent. Alright, it is gonna be at Solsax. And I'm ready to manually fly it in a second. No arm approach. Don't know how this works with the RNF approach. We'll just arm approach and we'll see what happens. It's not an ILS approach that we're doing, so.
1,000 to go.
Okay, 1004 set. Go get these engines to continue. Oh. Engines to continuous. Recall. Everything's checked. And auto brakes are set. Once we're on our glide, we'll go gear down. Flaps 15. Not yet. It's at 3000. Alright, we're gonna go manual, get this in there, flight director off, because it's giving me wrong info anyway. We want to be on this profile. Right, gear down, flaps 15.
1,000 to go.
And then missed approach altitude is 4000. Set.
2,500.
Checked. Landing checklist. Recall is checked. Speed brakes. Armed. And we'll go. Oh, we're a little low. To correct for that, flaps at 20. Level off here for a sec. Get back on this glide slope. We have still 1000 to be perfectly stable, so it's fine. Get back on this glide. Alright, now you can resume a descent. 4 miles from the runway. Or flaps 25. And at 3 miles I'll go flaps 30. 2 miles we can go. It's a little close. So let's go flaps 30 now, so speed is checked. Flaps 30. Stable, missed approach, altitude set. Now we'll go flaps full. Nose light on. Landing check is completed. Auto throttle off. Oh, it's a bit much. Don't want that. Don't want to slow down too much either. Get around VREF.
500.
Approaching minimals.
Approaching minimums. Minimums.
Landing. Reversers out. Reversers green.
knots.
Checked, and we'll go reversers idle. Reversers closed.
We'll be taxiing for the next few minutes, so please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened and all items stowed until the seatbelt sign is turned off. Please make sure you have all your personal belongings before you exit the aircraft, and be careful when opening.
And get our flaps up.
You're now free to use your mobile phones and small lightweight devices. Thank you for flying with us today. We hope you've had a pleasant experience, and we look forward to welcoming you again on another flight.
And vacate the runway here. Vacated runway, landing lights off. And position light to steady. Oh. We'll go transponder to as required. And let's get our taxi diagram up. Alright. So we landed on runway 33 and we vacated, I think, Echo 3, so it's going to be right on Echo 1 towards the yeah, Echo 1 is on the right, so we're going to go there. Reset our airplane to a normal value. Pro beats can come off as well. Try to stay on the taxiway this time. It's really annoying that it's telling me to go. What am I trying to say? It's really annoying that my axis is not really accurate anymore. So I'll have to get that fixed because I don't know why. It's really strange since it's brand new. It shouldn't do this. And I'll get the APU on. And we're a little itty bitty too slow. I'd like to get a little faster. Nice evening landing here in Hamburg. It's very dark here already. It's not that late yet. 5:30. Alright, I can stop this call now. Oh, and we can't cross the runway threshold. We are clear to cross because the runway is not active. And to make things simple, we're gonna taxi straight in here. Even though I'm not sure that Ryanair gets a gate. Maybe they just get a stand. However, yeah. Realism when it comes to airplane and procedures, I really appreciate. But realism when it comes to airport parking, don't care too much. Maybe I have to park there. I should get this plate up of the parking stands. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, let's park apron 1. So we're coming in. Zulu. Yeah, if we come in here and we come in straight here, we have apron 1 here. We could park at one of those stands here, get our ground crew to do all their work without having any buildings in the way. And it's less far than going to the gate. So we don't want to park there, we want to park next to the Air Europa. That one is fine. Alright, stand 5-4. And stop on the marks. Where's my parking brake? There's my parking brake. APU gens on. And we will go. This is fine. I get our no our taxi lights off because we don't want to be in their face. And then engine starter, engine power levers to cut off. Don't know why number 2 isn't working, but let's do it manually then. And then transit shutdown and anti-collision light. And one is below 20, so we'll go anti-collision light off. Initial transponder code is set. Transponder standby. Flight deck door. Open it up. And we'll ask a GPU here. And to GPU power. And APU off. And let everyone get out of their seats. Isolation valve open. Lights on, and we'll get our ground control guys up here. We don't need catering, so we'll get this, that, these to drive up. And I will wait for opening the door until we get that. But first, let's go take a look outside, get some replays done. Alright, this is always the best part of the entire stream, in my honest opinion. Yeah, the flying is of course the most fun, but watching yourself fly is also really nice. Let's see if they come in. Watch me in this approach. Let's get the button binded. A replay. I want this. Then I can toggle this away. I have a nice view. So we're coming in a little low we were, but you wouldn't be able to tell by looking at this. As we are gently approaching, and we landed a little long. Oh, it's really, really loud. Slightly early flare, we floated a little. Might have had some power in too long. And then an okay, decent touchdown. Let's see what our ATC friends would have seen. Definitely a long landing. I'm sure we could have done a better job. Alright, and maybe a passenger view, just to change things up. Yeah, you can hear the throttles retarding rather late. Alright, I think that's enough replays. Let's see what our cockpit looks like now. Oh, that did mess stuff up a bit. Alright, that's fine. Is my airplane being... Oh. See, we want them to drive up. Oh, that's our ELT. Don't know why our ELT is going off. Alright, that's what we want. Anyway, let's get out before I make it worse. Alright, so anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you did enjoy this video or stream whenever you watched it. Doesn't matter. So I hope you have a very great rest of your day. Do consider liking and subscribing if you want to.